What is going on, everyone? Figured I would start a little bit early. Typically, I'm usually late, but I do know sometimes that I do start early, usually. So, yeah, no, the head attached to Kratos' hip and God of War thing kind of cracked me up a bit. Hope everybody had a good New Year's Eve. I did absolutely nothing. It was rainy here, so not much you could really do outside. Trying to finish getting some stuff set up on my end. There. Thanks for being here, Evan. Hope you're doing well. All right. So basically, today's plans were to go over some of the final details um, about like kind of like what this Oracle deck thing that I'm making is going to look like. It's a really weird concept. I hope some people get it. Some people may not understand where I'm going with it, but I'll try to explain some things as I go along. But I'll show that today, and then I'm also going to do some card readings for the new year. I've got some um, a new Oracle deck and kind of like a knowledge card thing with like animal spirits and things. And definitely go through that. Yeah, thank you, Evan. Yeah, I'm gonna show the rest of the artwork for that today, since it's all been done now. It hasn't been printed yet. I'm trying to figure out the pricing and stuff with different publishers and stuff, but I'm pretty stoked about it. I think it's gonna look cool. Because I want to make it uh, some really good card stock because to me that's important when I buy an Oracle deck, and then I also want to make it kind of like holographic in some aspects. So I'm trying to find a publisher that I vibe with that kind of sees the vision I do. Um, and then once I've picked them, I will get a sample done, um, and then I will use the sample on stream, and then I'll probably gift some out, like maybe one or two out to people, uh, and then I will start taking orders for it. Then it's definitely not a quick process. It's not as quick as some people have told me it was, but so what I'm about to do is we're going to dive right in and take a peek at it. So let me switch. Let me pull this up here. There we go. So this is what the back of the cards are going to look like. It's going to be kind of cosmic oriented, right? Um, for a bunch of weird reasons. Like I've got the crop edges here. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse pointer. Um, I'm gonna crop them off and have all the cards rounded because I like rounded cards. That's just my thing. So this is what the back so far is gonna look like, and if I can get this hollowed like holographic the way I want to, then for sure it's going to look really cool in my opinion. I thought about doing it like metallic, but I'd settled in for holographic in some aspects. Welcome in, Martha, and thank you for hanging out. Oracle cards are similar to tarot, but they're just, I don't know how to explain it, like a little different. There's no really one set way of reading it, but then again, there's no one set way of reading, um, you know, tarot either. So this is Hera, right? So we have her here, and then we have the three things that is going to be associated with this specific card, right? So the way I'm designing this is I want it to be to where in the event that you don't want to open the book, you can leave every card completely 100% open to interpretation, right? So that's what my goal is in designing this, is that if I pull this card, I don't have to go straight to the book to understand what it means, right? Because it's got the keywords here. And now, so when I approach this, is that there will be some husband and wife cards. Like, for example, there's Hera and there's Zeus, Horus and Hathor, Ninurta and Gula, Enlil and Ninlil, and kind of like in Thor and Sif kind of thing. So it's like there is some marriage partners, and then in some aspects, there's not, right? So that's how I kind of felt when going about it. And so Evan actually pointed out a good point. Like in some of the Egyptian cards, you know, the race aspect, right? But to me, in my opinion, all the gods are not subject to race, you know, so that's kind of like left open to interpretation, right? So the message, like the imagery in these cards is kind of, I don't know if it's like I left it open to interpretation or like just inspiration for the card set itself, right? I'm not saying that this is exactly what this individual looks like, but this is just in my mind's eye what I kind of approved on or went, it felt like I needed to go with, I guess. So you're going to see obviously the back every time. So like for an example, we have some excuse me, ET based stuff that's going to be incorporated in it, like Orion star seeds, right, or the Orion constellation, an ET name, and then like what it means, right? So that way when you pull this card, you'd be like, okay, if you're doing like what's your star seed, you pull this card, and obviously you could say, well, I could go off the base of this, I'm an Orion, right? Or if you're doing a normal reading, this card could mean the end of like cycles or rebirth. Like there's going to be a new beginning to you, which if you follow some of the star seed stuff, right? It's left open as to you could have existed in other worlds and other planets as a different type of entity prior to being born onto this earth and in this life, right? So that's what I'm kind of going with a bit with this. Like for an example, there's Horus, but Horus has like some kind of, it looks like ET technology, right? Like you wouldn't really see this in like modern stuff. Um, and in my opinion, like I feel like Horus and all the Egyptian gods were depicted in stuff that maybe it could have been like mechanical suits or whatever, right? That allowed them to survive on this planet or whatever. So that's kind of the aspect I was going with. So here we have Zeus, um, and then we have the three keywords for Zeus. We have Gula, which is in Sumerian mythology, right? She's the wife of Ninurta. She's also known as she's a healing goddess, and all these different things as well in Sumerian culture. We have Ninurta. Ninurta was known as having like a reddish blonde beard, so that's why he looks the way he does here. He was like a god of war, storms, healing, and something else. We have Thor, obviously, courage, strength, protection, which is what Thor stands for. We have Sif, Thor's wife, serenity, mindfulness, and marriage. Um, supposedly, like, if you look back on the stories, Sif is really the only person who has ever been able to really calm Thor when he's super upset about something. So that's why I chose. I felt like Serenity was a keyword that I wanted to match with her. Uh, like I said, this is totally up to interpretation. So we have the storm god Indra, right, from Hindu belief. So we have wrath, strategy, and readiness. And we have Indra's wife, Indrani. Um, passion, determination, stoicism. We have the Kalki avatar, which, if anybody who knows anything about Hindu belief, the Kalki is, so every year cycle or whatever it's called yugas, right? So currently we're in the Kali Yuga, and then once this ends and once the world continues to supposedly spiral into this crazy thing, right? We will have to have another incarnation of a god or whatever to come through and kind of balance it out, which kind of makes me think about Christianity a bit because it's kind of like every religious aspect always has this one deity that's kind of coming back, right, to some aspect. But so in Hindu belief, an incarnation known as the Kalki avatar, which is another incarnation of Vishnu, will come back and kind of settle the score, right, and like rebalance the world or the universe. We have the Temple of Ninurta, which did exist at one point in ancient Sumeria, or ancient Sumer, sorry, but was destroyed over time. Excuse me, my throat's scratchy. It represents healing, expansion, and safety. So, Ninurta was kind of like a Sumerian version of Thor, and his wife was pretty much like the Sumerian version of Sif, which is why I see so many parallels across every different religion. Because there's always the same god in some aspects repeated. There's always a thunder god. They always, for lack of a better word, they always end up dying in some aspects, right? Ninurta died. Thor will die in Ragnarok. Indra died. And there's a few other ones I'm thinking of, but there's always this weird interconnectedness through all religion. So, um, yes, we have the Temple Edfu, which is the temple of Horus, which would represent knowledge, activation, and Sirius. I chose Sirius constellation and connected it to this because ancient Egypt is full of signs of being connected to the Sirius star system and for being connected to Orion as well. But I felt like when I was coming up with the concept of this that Sirius needed to be connected to that for some reason, which is why I did. So we have Hathor, charisma, sensuality, and confidence, which, if anyone knows anything about the Egyptian goddess Hathor, that is basically her in a nutshell. Avatar, right? So this card was interesting to me because honor, legacy, and reward. I feel like if we allow ourselves to be not necessarily an avatar, but like, I don't know, like an expansion of a god or a deity that we follow, we can walk in honor and create like a, a concrete legacy, right? And then reap the rewards spiritually from emulating that God as much as we can in this life, trying to be uh, not really emulating, but emulating their highest qualities that we wish to see in ourselves. So, walking in the path of it, right? We have Ninlil, which is another Sumerian goddess. So I chose a lot of Sumerian stuff for various reasons, but yeah, thank you, Evan. Yeah, I did so this deck is actually going to be titled the Cosmic Light Oracle deck. So it's based around a lot of cosmic stuff. So I added a lot of Sumerians in here because unfortunately, with a lot of cards, you don't get like there's no such thing as a Sumerian Oracle deck, right? Or a Sumerian, uh, a lot of Sumerian anything. And I feel like they're kind of like one of those deities and god group, I guess if you want to call it, that gets forgotten a lot, and no one really wants to dive into getting stuff done for them. So this is why I added some of this in here, among other reasons, right? But Ninlil is the wife of Enlil. Now, the funny story about Enlil and Ninlil is there's some connection to them being also Isis and Osiris. So uh, you can interpret that how you will, based on some of the stories and everything, because I know that there is a theory that the Anunnaki or ancient Sumerian gods existed and traveled to different countries and were known by different names, very similar to how Thoth is Mercury and Hermes and whoever else, right? So I can foresee this as being very similar of a situation, that a god that we call, I don't know, Thor or Loki or whatever could be a god to multiple different countries because they didn't all just stay stagnant in one area. So, and we all do know, for an example, like people like Odin did travel all over the world, and could have, and went by many different names as well. So we have Enlil. Enlil to me is probably treated really dirty in a lot of the stories because everybody makes him look out like he's the bad guy when in reality he's really not. Um, he was the chief of the gods in ancient Sumeria, and there was so much respect for him that no one would ever approach him, um, directly because there was like a lot of, I don't know, respect and authority that he had. So he's been demonized so much through various different stories and everything, and I don't really feel like it's fair to him to be that way. Um, but you know, I chose to incorporate him in this, and I hope that everybody enjoys it as much as I do. We have Tyrannus, which, if you follow Irish and Celtic lore, he's basically the that version of Thor. So for him, I chose power, authority, and respect. Right. So then we have Nibiru, which, if you are a fan of Zachariah Sitchin, you would read his stories and know that he believes that the Anunnaki came from a planet. I don't really deem it as a planet. I think it's like a man-made structure, to be quite honest, from some of the stories I've read, that circles back into our galaxy every 3 or 5,000 years. And so it's like it kind of goes in orbit like a Death Star or whatever it is, which is where he claimed that the Anunnaki were from. So, due to the Anunnaki being really big with DNA manipulation and skilled and creating humanity and all these different things, I chose DNA activation and change for that connection to Nibiru. We have the Akashic Records, where if you're very spiritual, you know that the Akashic Records is a really big thing, a really big topic among people who have underwent a spiritual awakening, because this is where records of all life within Earth and the cosmos exist. And you can actually, in deep meditation, if you travel deep enough, actually go and see this and see your life and dive into it. We have the source card, which represents, source, God energy, right? Or whatever you want to deem it as. That's why there's balls of light here. And it's elevated. It's not connected to Earth, but in a realm of its own. And then there's like this little, you can view it as a throne or you can view it as whatever. Like I said, this is all all open to interpretation, but it means divinity, self-love, and compassion, because supposedly compassion is source energy, right? We have simulation, because the current theory that we live in a simulation. There is a lot of scientists that even have said that we do, that there's a good possibility that we do, and there's a lot of people who've had near-death experiences that have came back and also said that we live in a simulation. And I watched the simulate, like the Matrix glitch videos or whatever you want to call it, and I've always found it fascinating. But I felt heavily called into this because in a near-death experience podcasting that I listened to, a woman described that when she died, she went into the fourth dimension, or not the fourth, but the fifth dimension, and it was a realm inside of this realm, right? But the sky was fragmented, it was broken up, and it's like a bunch of pixels on a screen that just didn't match up together. But there, she could, was told by some beings that this was a simulation, and they showed her how it worked. So basically, there's like this massive landmass that keeps like interjecting the simulation upon us, and then there's like two simulations overlapping, and it's like I could get into that theory all day long because it's a really, really, that's a one of those dense rabbit hole kind of conversations. But this is why in this you see the cosmos, but the sky looks really odd down here. Like it's projecting something, right? It's like not meeting in a way that you would think it would. And then there's this glow in the city, and it's like, to me, I'm like, this is indicative of realizing that this is all fake, this is all real, and that's why it looks the way it does. But it represents denial, ego, and selfishness, right? Because that's what the simulation or life tries to force us into believing, right? So we have a starseed card, meditation, cosmos, and calling. If you see, there's two beings standing here on a distant planet inside the cosmos. So you can view this as your cosmic family kind of reaching out to you, calling you to remember who you are. That was my intention, as far as like why I named it that way. The universe card, manifestation, prayer, and contemplation. You know, the universe has given us a blank checkbook, right? All of us. So once we discover what we want and we put that intention in, we can manifest the things that we want. And I think that what this card is telling you, because I view life as like a mountain, and I use this analogy a lot. And by the time you get to that mountain, and look down, you can see what you've accomplished. And that's what I think that this card I wanted to speak out to. We have cosmic judgment, cycles, dharma, life lessons. Basically, are you in check with your cosmic purpose or your divine purpose, right? Venus, for those of you who are Venusians or like to connect to Venus or have some kind of weird connection to Venus, um, I decided I wanted to incorporate this card. A lot of this was like inspiration driven, so I only put cards in here that I felt inspired to put. So direction and unveiling and cleansing is in here. The Purana, which is like another Hindu thunder god, fertility, wealth, stability. They're very rarely spoken of. The simulation tech, warning, control, instability. So this is, archons or reptilians or whatever you want to believe, the people behind the scenes keeping us blinded to things. The ones who are interfering with things and making it a rough lesson for us. That's what this person represents. And then the controller is basically the boss of this person. trapped hopelessness and despair. You can see like he's mechanical. He's got like this smirk on his face. Like, they know what they're doing. They know they're being manipulative, right? The lost soul, the person that gets trapped inside the simulation, if you look, they eventually start turning in to this controller. And it represents depression, anxiety, and fear. We have Thoth, guidance, answers, and clarification. We have Evira. So there is a funny story about Evira. So Evira is a person that came to me one time in a dream. She was an ET from Cassiopeia. And I saw her in a dream one time, and that's why I put her in here. But it means awakened spirit and guides. So it's telling you to basically wake up and trust in your spirit or trust in your guides as well to kind of keep you going. We have the priestess here. I kind of initially wanted this to be like an Anunnaki priestess, but with like obviously extraterrestrial kind of looking features. Intuition, divine connection, and clarity. So she's the one kind of guiding you back to your cosmic roots, right? We have the Sumerian goddess Inanna, the feminine energies, clairvoyance, and she tries to teach you how to hone in on your abilities that you may or may not have. Jock is the I'm trying to make sure I get this one right. If I remember, the Mayan thunder god, indicative of arrogance, pride, and collapse. But I wanted him to look extraterrestrial because we all know, if you watch history stuff as much as I do, that there is a huge extraterrestrial connection to ancient Aztec and Maya cultures. Then we have Inky, which Inky killed Ninurta. So deceit, untrust, and he could represent family as well. But there's some darker aspects, but he could just represent that there's something that in your family you shouldn't trust, right? And that is the overview of the Oracle deck. So I hope you all enjoy it, and probably and see the idea that I have for it and what the overall vision of this is. Once I find a printer that I vibe with, and everything, I'll get these printed. So basically, I'm going to print one for me, of course, and then I'll do a few sample prints, and then I will probably do like a giveaway on the YouTube channel, and people can enter in and win one. But yeah, that's the concept. I may or may not gift a few to people who have channels like YouTube channels that do tarot readings or oracle card readings, so that way they can use it on their channel as well if they do these types of things, whether it's Twitch or YouTube or TikTok readings or whatever they do. But this is the vision that I have for the Oracle deck. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I can't wait to get them printed. Um, Evan, there's a lot of sites, if I remember correctly, that's out there. Just kind of dive into. I know it's like a same with like it's all connected to like the Crystal Skull stuff. Mayan and Aztec cultures were heavily influenced by potentially the Anunnaki as well. Um, and everything too. So you just kind of have to do some digging around. I know Eric von Daniken's Chariot of the Gods book is probably really good about diving into different religious cultures and pulling out extraterrestrial aspects and pointing them out. But I'm looking forward to, my goal is to have this the first print done within a couple of months, like at least a couple of months or a month or two from now, and then have some samples done and you know demo them and do some uh, sample giveaways. But yeah, I've never felt called to create an Oracle deck before, which is really weird. But I did. I've had conversations in the past about like, oh, why is there not a Sumerian oracles or whatever, right? Like, you know, why why is there not these things? And I always made a joke that yeah, I should make my own. And one day I just got up and was like, well, let me make my own. So, but I'm glad to have been able to showcase this to you guys since the artwork is done. It will be 36 cards. I was initially going to go for more, but as a demo, um, I felt like it was appropriate to kind of keep it around 33, 36. Um, and then everything from there. So if this takes off really well and people really enjoy this, I will look into making a different version. Doing one of just Norse gods and then doing one of maybe just Samaria and then doing one of just Egyptian and so on and so forth. But I'm just kind of taking it one step at a time with this. Yeah, I'll keep everybody updated on the progress of this, Evan. So that way, those who want to purchase this should be able to, have a way to do it. I'm pretty excited about it. I think all the artwork and everything came out really cool. So, all right, let me switch back over. There we go. All right, so without any further things, let's dive into some readings. Yeah. I may take me off of here so that way you guys can see everything better. Thank you for the super chat, Evan. Thank you for that. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this stuff and see what it's going to be like for the upcoming days. Let me cut myself off here. There we go. Make sure everything's working. Cool. All right. Got some selenite here. Cleansing off the decks. So I have this new knowledge animal spirits deck. It's like every one of these has like a meaning on the back. It's kind of like a spirit guide kind of card. So I'm going to use these, combining them with the Celtic Oracle. So I'll do some readings with this, these two combined, and then I'll dive into some of the other stuff that I have, like the Star Dragons. I may pull out the Oracle Souls, then I got the Black Tarot, and then Moonology, and then Keepers of the Light. We're just gonna do some readings, enjoy our New Year's Day, and kind of hope that we get some good vibes going. So these crystals. I just recently got this deck, um, and I really like it because the cards feel like they're like a plastic, like almost like a PVC, which is something really interesting. I've never had a set with them like that before, but the artwork, that's really cool. Like, I really enjoy the artwork, and it's really cool because the way I did my deck is very similar. Like, it's got the three card, like 3 word meanings, but it's just really awesome. I like it a lot. No. Oh, that was a fail. My card said forget you. That happens with every new set that I've ever owned. Like, I always shuffle it, and the cards go flying everywhere because of how stiff the cards are. But it's so we're gonna pull a few cards to see what the overall vibe of this month is gonna be, and then we're gonna do for the year after that. The year is always a lengthy one because I try to approach the card readings for the year like, um, some obstacles that you may or may not confront, and then how you're going to overcome them, and warnings kind of thing. Um, and then the good things obviously that's going to show up. All right. I really hope that there's no depression. That'd be horrible. Organize this so I have some more room here. So I want to straighten this up. I just always take an oracle card that's upside down, and I say, okay, this is a card that I obviously need to focus on. So remember that we need to really heavily focus on the meaning of this one. So the blue card means, you know, depressed, isolated, help. She looks, depressed and, you know, in the fetal position, you know. But we have divination, guides. I'm probably saying this wrong, but Ogham, tree spirits, right? I'll tell you my overall message here. Standing stones, ancestors, gateways, and sacred. I kind of feel like there may be something here that is you're dealing with that's really difficult, but you are too afraid to seek help for it, whether or not it's like in the form of connecting to your guides or to your ancestors, right? And I feel like with these standing stone things, like the gateways are opened, right? This is a sacred time for you. This is a time that's carved out for you to be able to communicate to your ancestors and your guides, which could very well be the same thing for you, or hell, even tree spirits, if you want to connect to land whites, whatever nature entity that you work with, fairies. I'm seeing a fairy here, so it's kind of making me think fairy, but I kind of feel like this problem that you're dealing with is, hopefully that none of us will be really dealing with for too long, but it's like it needs to be communicated to your guides and to your ancestors. Like you can't just assume that they know, right? They like it when you approach them and communicate that you need their help, because they will not interfere on your choices, right? Your free will. And I think that this is what this is saying, is that it very well could be as much as like there's a lot of bad energy that you had or dealt with in 2022 that you're carrying now into this, that you just kind of felt like, oh, I'll just brush it off and brush it under the rug, forget about it. But your guides and everybody are saying, hey, you need to take advantage of this new energy that's coming in and communicate it, so that way you can give yourself time to heal and heal yourself. Let's see. Hidden courage, camouflage, wisdom, power, and transformation. It's a step out. Step out of your comfort zone. Step out of being camouflaged. Right. Have the courage to say that you need help. There's wisdom and power in that. Take back power of your own self, and allow yourself to have this moment of transformation. It's important for you to do that. You don't want to go through an entire new year dealing with the same problems over and over and over and over again, wishing, oh, I wish I would have got help. Now's the time to get help for it. You just gotta dive in. At the bottom of the deck, we have the hare in reverse. Otherworld, shape shifting, fertility. I think that this is telling you that, you know, you gotta shape shift yourself into being the better you. Because I see one aspect looking up on top of where the grass is greener, but one aspect underground in the darkness. They think that you have to transmute that darkness into light, and then you will receive, like, not really fertility, like, like trying to get pregnant or anything, or getting somebody pregnant, but I see it as an aspect of, like, for which, like, things that you've been trying to manifest and stuff, like, it's gonna be easy for you. Because if you stay in the darkness, you're only going to continue to manifest negativity in your life. Let's expand on this. We'll use an animal guide here. Let's expand on this a bit. This is what these look like. They all have little unique meanings to them. It's a really cool deck. So it's really funny. So we have the bull, Taurus energy. It's really weird, but means renewal, fertility, and growth. So it kind of expands on that hair card a bit. We have the hawk, healing, vision, rebirth, and spirituality. So we have um, two cards that are confirming basically, what we're seeing here with all of this. Like there's some transformation, there's some rebirth kind of going on. You know, you're gonna need to come into that renewal, that growth, right? You got to grow, allow yourself to grow, become more spiritual. Maybe you're not meditating like you used to, or communicating to an entity like you used to. I kind of feel like that's the vibe of this. Is like, you know, you need to step back into hanging out with spirit a bit more, and less inside your head. We are our own worst enemy. And it's unfortunate that we are like that with ourselves. But I will say that I am seeing like regrowth, right? So, not regrowth, rebirth and growth. So, whenever you step into the light, right, you step out of that dark energy, you know, you gotta allow yourself to become something different, become something better. Totally just called me out. Yeah, I mean, it's so easy, like, if I remember correctly, I know your story a bit on that. I think you've mentioned it once before. But I know since my mom passed and some other issues, I've kind of faced. I don't meditate as much as I used to. It takes too much out of me, you know. I'll do a read really quick. Like I want to see what our ancestors or loved ones that's passed on or whatever is wanting to convey to us. Like you know what we need to know from them to kind of help us face the day. Oh, we got portal again. We got another gateway and another portal. We got that. Okay. We got two fairies, which is interesting. Change, gateway, new beginnings, right? What did I say just a second ago? We gotta be reborn. Yeah, definitely, Evan. Yeah, meditation will definitely help you open up yourself to being able to communicate with her energy, possibly. And I see this depression card is back, right? The isolated and help card in reverse. So this is something that you need to focus on. Is like maybe your depression and you feel isolated and you need help, but now's the time to lean into meditation more than ever, right? Instead of pulling yourself away from spirit, give yourself more to spirit, right? And that's exactly what I'm seeing paired up with this surrender card. Let go, freedom, and flow. Like you're just gonna have to surrender yourself to spirit, right? To those on the other side that are trying to guide you. And I think that, like, since the nature of this reading is messages from those or our guides or those who've passed on and their advice, is you need to change this. You need to let go and just transmute all that sadness and all of that stuff into compassion and love. And let's pull another card. The Green Woman in reverse. Feminine nature, oneness. Compassion usually falls into the feminine energy. Maybe you need to realize that we're all one and that you're still connected to that person, right? And that's where that oneness comes in. We have the step out card again. Hidden courage, camouflage. You got to have the courage to step out. You have to have the courage to pull yourself out of that and allow yourself to feel vulnerable, maybe. Like, even feel those emotions because we allow ourselves to just cut that off, right? Like, and try not to feel a damn thing because it's easier for us to remain numb, right? We have this too. We have the Weaver's card, fate, manifestation, decisions. Now it's your time for you to decide if you're going to continue to stay in that type of energy or you're going to step out of that energy. You're manifesting all that negativity that you're continue. So something, the most interesting concept I've ever heard is that when we stay in negativity and we choose to stay in it, we're continuously manifesting the negative. So you got to start pulling yourself out. Every little bit of light that you start letting back into your life will brighten your path brighter and brighter and brighter, which will allow you to start manifesting more light into your life. You know, it's all about your decision. I really connect heavily to this set. This is, since I've gotten it, this is probably like one of my favorites to use. We're going to dive in. We're going to use some Moonology here too. So we'll be hammering hard on these topics today. So we're going to pull Moonology. Let the moon be your guide. I say this every time. Yeah, you guys, those of you who've been here before, you know what it says. Advice. So this is going to be advice for problems that you're currently facing too. So we're going to expand a little bit on some of these things that you're dealing with. You're just overall advice for the year. Actually, let's just do that. Overall advice for the year on how to handle your hardships or what to expect. You know, this is just collective reads. Take what resonates, take what doesn't, you know? So, what connects to one person might not connect to the other, you know? That happens to be one more time today. So weird. All right, well, you know what? That's the second time that's jumped out, so I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with it. All right. Advice for 2023. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Balance spirituality and practicality, which is kind of a bit what the other cards were saying, right? This is in reverse, so this means you listen here. Hold your vision. And I kind of like the mountain peaks because it kind of represents like climbing up that mountain but getting tired and wanting to turn around and give up and just go back. But you're going to be pissed that you didn't get to the top. It'll eat you alive for the rest of your life. So push yourself. Hold that damn vision. Don't give up. Your dreams need a practical plan. I feel like this is telling you to keep a balance, right? You can't be completely spiritual and not practical, but can't be too practical and not spiritual. You need to sit in the center, right? Because, you know, you can't sit on your ass all day manifesting a job, for example, to come to you when you don't put in the effort to go out and apply for any jobs that's around you. You know, it's not like the universe is going to go, here you go. Like, the universe gives you blank checks, but you have to fill in, right? if there's something that you really want to do, I mean, you're going to need to be practical about it because I see practicality and practical. Same terms came up on both sides. You need to make sure that whatever you're looking into, you need to look at it realistically. Oh, I want to start my own business, but I'm not investing in myself. Or, oh, I want to, you know, get a promotion, but I'm not going to ask for it. Like, this is telling you that, you know, source or the universe or God or whoever you want to say this is telling you that you got to meet me halfway, right? You got to give me a bit. You got to take some of the work and not make me be the one, carrying all the weight here. Bring love into the situation. And I don't think this is telling you necessarily like bring like a getting into a new relationship is going to fix your problem, right? I think this is just telling you like maybe you need to be more compassionate. At the bottom of the deck here, you're very close to achieving your goal, right? Gibeus Moon. Let's pull another one. We'll pull another card for you. Yeah, luck is on your side. But you got to take that shot. You got to, before you fire an arrow off, what do? You pull the arrow out of the quiver, put it in the bow, pull the bow back, focus your aim, take a deep breath, and then release that arrow. But you can't, the arrow doesn't just go into the bow and launch itself, right? You have to guide it. You have to put it out there, send it off. And I think that that's what that's saying is like, luck will be on your side, but you have to, yeah, there's just a lot of shit that you're gonna have to do. You know? Gotta be practical. This is a really nice deck. I like this one. I learned about this one from, well, they go by the Angelic Mystic now, but Solitude Spins used to be their name from Twitch. They were the best tarot oracle card reader I know of, to be honest. But they don't stream on Twitch anymore. They do have a YouTube channel that they occasionally post on now when they have time between work and real life. But yeah, I'd recommend you all go check them out if you haven't yet. But I'll dive into this one too. How to raise your vibration for 2023. Let's see. Let's see what this called out here. I'll do 2 cards for this one. And then, of course, I hand out the bottom of the deck. 2 cards in reverse. Mahavatar Babashi, soul expansion. Your consciousness is expanding. You understand connections between all things. Which is kind of making me think about that oneness card with the green woman from earlier. Lady Portia, or Portia, or whatever you want to call her. Divine order. Do what you feel is right. An important lesson is unfolding. So I feel like this time is like a new. This is going to be like a new, maybe a new level of your spiritual awakening this year. You know, overcoming things, learning what you have to kind of face and overcome in this life, right? And or this year in general. Whether it's ego, shadow work that you need to do. At the bottom of the deck, we have Mary Magdalene, teacher or awakens. You have something important to share. Follow the inner call. Do not let anything stop you. See if we can expand a bit on, like, see if we can get one more card that tell us, like, what the overall message for this is. Green Tara. Supreme protection. You are protected. Cords are being cut. Move beyond limitation and trust. So I think this is telling you need to trust more in your guides and in the divine and in yourself, really. Like, I feel like this is telling you that developing divine trust and universal trust is going to be your main lesson for this year. Or maybe for the main lesson for all of us this year. I hope these readings are resonating with those of you who are watching. I'm gonna cut some music on. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Should have. Shame on me. I can skip my own intro, right? Alright. This is the Star Dragons meditation, actually. This was inspired by this deck that I'm using. Resources, instruction, and bliss. I kind of feel like this is telling you to be resourceful. Now, this isn't telling you, I mean, this could be resonating and telling you to go out and find other means, right? But I think this is telling you to step outside of the box and trying to be able to connect to divine beings or to find strength within your own self, right? Be resourceful and trying to help yourself. This destruction energy, uh, releasing your anger, right? Releasing that negativity. This is Orion right here. I connect really heavily with this card because Orion Starseed, but um yeah, this is telling you to release your anger. A lot of people don't realize that anger can build up over time, right? And turn itself into different emotions or different things that we try to blame it on. Like, I can be angry and then it'll turn into depression, or I can be depressed and then turn into anger, or I can, whatever. But it's a matter of like, once you release that anger, anger carries like the most weight because it'll cause you to be bitter, it'll cause you to be depressed, it'll cause you to, hate people and carry this dark cloud around with you. And this is what it's saying. It's like you need to release that anger because, ultimately it can lead to your destruction, right? I think this is telling you, like, once you release it, bliss, cherishing the day. Like, you look at this mermaid and this dragon, like, they're just having fun. They don't care about the fact that the sun's going down in the background. They're just cherishing the moment that they have, right? They're not focused on anything else. They're not focused on the pain. They're not focused on the loss. They're not focused on the grief. They're just focused on being in the moment. This is telling me you need to be, once you lose this right here, once you take that destruction, that anger out of the equation, because you're gonna have to be resourceful. Maybe you need to go see a therapist, or meditate a lot more, or just, I don't know, like, go to an anger room, maybe break something. I don't know, like, whatever you need to step out of the box for this and to get rid of that is going to be helpful, because I'm going to pair these two together right off to the side, because these are the same message. Like, you need to be resourceful in getting rid of that anger. But I really want to expand on this. Cherish the day. Like, stop looking at the past, right? You're not going back. We're not going back to that. Your loved ones, those who've passed, your ancestors, divine beings, whatever you want to call them, are telling you, like, stop looking in the past. It's like when you're running from a monster, or you're running from somebody trying to kill you, you're not going to stop and look at them. You're going to keep fucking running with your head face forward, because you want to keep your eyes focused on that safe haven, right? That safety that's going to be there, and that joy that's going to be on the other side. You need to focus on that harder, maybe. Thank you for being here, Dula. Yeah, Atlantean stuff is really interesting. I've watched some stuff about that in Lemuria, so it's really cool that you know about it. I have to check them out. I'm just seeing, like, you gotta let stuff, you gotta let that anger go, because it's holding you back from joy. Take one day at a time. Like, if you found out today that you were gonna die tomorrow, what would you do today? You need to ask yourself that, because reality check, you are dying. I'm dying, you're dying, we're all dying, right? Every single day is a day closer and closer and closer to our end. And we can go at any moment. We need to be holding this energy constantly. But we don't, unfortunately, as people. And this is what I feel like the ultimate purpose of the universe is for us. It's like this whole life is meant for this. But this simulation, this thing that we call life has blinded us to the fact of these things. Now we got to work to survive. Now we got to do all these different things, and then instead of working to live, we live to work now. You know, we don't have time for this anymore. And I feel like that's where we're failing ourselves is we need to take every moment like it's our last. Enjoy the day. Enjoy this energy that we're in, right? Pulled another card, knowledge in reverse. It's really funny because this is the second monochromed card that we've got, and I usually don't get these. This is telling you to know. You know. You know this. You know that you have to step out of that anger. You know that you need to be living every day like this. If you look at this card, he's just like sitting back, chilling up against the dragon, you know, like, yeah, I know all these things. You know, like cocky, kind of like, yeah, I know everything right now. And that's kind of where you need to be with this is like, you know that this is what you need to be doing. You know this is where you're at, right? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. I watch a lot of stuff on Gaia too. Gaia TV or Gaia Network is like one of my favorite things. I've got the app and everything. There's a lot of good stuff on there about Atlantis and Lemuria as well. There's a woman actually that went on Beyond Belief. She had like a past life regression where she was like a judge or something in ancient like Atlantis or something along those lines. So it was pretty interesting. Bottom of the deck energy is miracle, making a difference. When you step into that energy of being in bliss and you start taking every day like it's your last, you'll start trying to make a difference in other people's lives, you know? It just comes naturally. This is what this deck is. You can get this deck on Amazon if you're ever curious about where I got it. I actually learned about this deck too from the Angelic Mystic. The Black Tarot. No, I will warn you on this one. I do use the book simply because it's just easier. Because I don't remember all the meanings to all the tarot cards. Because there's, a lot of them. Knight of Spheres, Six of Swords, Five of Swords. Everything is in reverse. I don't like that. But this deck is actually meant to speak as to shadow work, so Hmm. So this means stubborn or misdirected. And then the Six of Swords. Fear of the unknown, forced change in thinking. And then despair and distrust is Five of Swords. So I feel like there's like a lot of fear for you going forward into 2023, right? Like you're afraid that you're gonna fail, and that you're afraid that you can't deal with the 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 situations at hand, right? We have Ten of Cups. Mature love, blessed union. Maybe there's like, I'm not gonna say that this is marriage, right? Because this means blessed union and love and everything. I'm not gonna say this is marriage, but there's a lot of fear for 2023. But when I pull this as like an expander, it's saying like union. Maybe for some of you, maybe you're afraid of pursuing a new relationship. I don't know, or like pursuing a relationship that you're currently in or were in. Maybe it's causing you to back off or feel weird or standoffish or whatever. But to me, this, for some of you as well, I feel like with the light, that ball of light in the background, I feel like this is telling you that you're afraid of connecting to maybe the divine or what's on the other side, spirit, right? Because maybe you're just, I don't know, like afraid that you feel like you're not good enough. Six of Spheres in reverse. See if this confirms what I'm saying. Stinginess and greed. Yeah, I feel like I'm not really feeling like this Six of Spheres in reverse is even representing like material greed. What I feel is like you're being greedy from withholding yourself from connecting to these things, right? Like, oh, I want you to give me 110%, but I ain't gonna give you nothing, right? And I kind of feel like that's what this is referring to, because if you look at the hands right here, you see one is brighter than, and then the other one is like faded off. Like to me, I'm like, this person pressed down 100%. This person was like, whatever. Like it looks like you're trying to make spirit to do more work than you're willing to do. I mean, I get being afraid, right? But it's like, basically in all of these readings, spirit has been like, or source, or divine, or guides, or whatever you want, God, whatever you want to call them, gods. Uh, they're like saying, hey, look, you need to work with us a bit more. You need to communicate, right? That's the energy you need to be in. Bottom of the deck is Queen of Wands. Look at all that energy flowing around her, you know? Queen of Wands means confidence, honorable, which is something I saw earlier in another reading with you guys. Honorable, confident, but it's just like she's standing there proud, confident, all that energy flowing. I mean, you could be a man too, but it's like, or a woman, but this card is a female, so I'm referencing it as such, but you need to be confident. This is what you are. Like I see this as like a soul surrounded by source energy or just energy. Like maybe you need to remember the God within yourself. Queen of Spheres. Stability and necessity. So yeah, I'm like, maybe it's just like once you step into that energy, you're gonna find emotional stability, right? I mean, but you look at that card, it's pretty chaotic. Maybe you need to step out of that chaos. Maybe that chaos is not only your actual life, but your mind. Oh, I mean, I hope this is resonating. I do like the aesthetic of the black background with all these cards, so it looks really cool. I don't know which color I want to use. I'll just use white for right now. Welcome in, Matthew. Happy New Year to you. Hope you're doing well. Alright. The eternal servitor. Or servitor, sorry. The ancient wanderer. Hope, incompleteness, and yearning. Morgan Le Fay. Atonement, growth, deceit. We have this card in reverse. Arwen, master of the great hunt. Authority, the hunt, natural balance. This kind of ties back into that depression card that we kept getting in the last read with the Celtic Spirit set. Hope, incompleteness, and yearning. You feel fragmented. You feel incomplete right now. There's a yearning in your soul. I know there is in mine where it's like I'm hoping for more, right? You need more. Right now you're just dealing with this sense of incompleteness. I'm going to stop the strobes for a minute so that way you can see all the artwork, right? Atonement, growth, and deceit. I feel like because of this yearning, you're paying a heavy toll, which is where this atonement comes in. This is telling you that you're lying to yourself. You know you're incomplete, but you keep trying to go on and you try to keep saying, "Oh, I'm fine, I'm fine." No, you're not. Because this is where this authority, the hunt, and natural balance comes in. Is it's time to rebalance yourself. Balance out the light and the dark within yourself. You need to connect to these guides, these higher beings that keep calling you in. So we have 2 Celtic cards here, which is funny because that's the first deck that I used in starting all of these readings. We've got the Matriarch, Mother of Homestead. Rejection, opportunities, and consequences. I feel like you're rejecting the opportunity to grow, to become better, to become the spiritual higher version of yourself, but you keep pissing it away. You're not doing the stuff that you need to do. And there's going to be consequences for it. We have the El Shaddai card, right? The Radiant Lord. Wisdom, paternalism, kindness. I feel like this is spirit, right? This is the spirits going, hey, by the way, you know, while you're over here wallowing in your self-pity and your misery, I'm over here trying to help you. I'm over here granting you, trying to give you wisdom, trying to be a fatherly or a motherly figure, or, well, I see paternalism, so they're trying to be that parent that you need, right? And they're coming to you with kindness. But if you keep spitting in their face or biting that hand that feeds you, right, then you're going to end up facing severe consequences. You know, your spirituality is going to suffer. Bottom of the deck energy, we have the Ageless. We need to focus on this. It's in reverse now. Healing, graciousness, and acceptance. There's a chance for healing for you right now, but you keep rejecting it. You keep rejecting your healing. Now's the time to embrace that healing. Let them heal you. You see them holding a key to light, or it looks like a crystal with this radiating light. Like, let them heal you. You know, let yourself be healed. you're choosing to stay in this state of darkness, right? Because you're fighting against it for some reason, and I don't know why you're fighting against it, but it seems like you are, right? So we're gonna dive into the Dark Mirrors deck, and we're gonna get a little brutally honest here, because the Dark Mirrors deck is based on calling your shadow out. So keep in mind, when I use the Dark Mirrors deck, I always like to apologize, because there is no light way of interpreting. It's all straight up right in your face. It's all about balance. It's okay to have a dark side, you know? But if you live too much in that dark energy, you're going to use some selenite really quick, playing off these decks. Anybody need a selenite cleanse? There we go. Selenite cleanse by proxy. Alright. So this is the Dark Mirrors deck. Likes to call people out a lot, so we're just gonna expose the shadow once and for all, right? Okay, I'm not counting that because somebody would have a lot of shadows if that was the case. These two means you really need to focus on this. I'll let you sit here for a minute with that energy, and then I'll tell you what they mean. Anger once again comes up. Anger in chains, sorry. This means that you're chaining yourself down instead of dealing with what you're feeling. There's a lot of anger that you're holding back, right? But you're procrastinating. You're a procrastinator today for tomorrow. If you look in her hands, you know, you see the flowers dying, they're wilting away because she keeps putting them in water, right? I see these two individuals like a spiritual you, like a side of you that knows that you could be better, and another side of you that just doesn't care, holding the other one back. Then we have forgetting oneself. which ties into this. You're forgetting who you are. You're forgetting yourself spiritually. And it's only natural if you live in the dark. It's only natural if you allow yourself to be chained up. You know, you're keeping yourself prisoner with anger and with all of this different stuff, and you keep procrastinating your healing. You say, "Oh, I can work on that later. You know, it'll always be there. I'm still here, right? I'm fine. I can just, I got a band-aid on this feeling, and I can just pull it off and deal with it." No, it's just going to continue to grow like a plague, like a virus. It's going to continue to eat you and infest you, right? All the while, you're forgetting yourself. You're forgetting who you really are. Yeah, Evan, you're allowed to feel those emotions, but I mean, you're allowed to. It's grief, you know? I mean, and holding that in is not healthy for you. You gotta let it go and let that stuff out. Because if not, you're just gonna, you're putting off your spiritual path you need to be walking right now. You're putting it last and not living to the best capability that you can within yourself, you know? I mean, these readings have been saying kind of the same thing over and over and over again, which is crazy because I'm like, I've used every oracle deck and every tarot set that I have, and it's all repeating the same message, which is really funny because I get that a lot for some reason. When I read for people, I'll like try to switch it up just to see if I get something different, and it never is different. It's never a different message ever. I mean, but it's like this is all collective, right? So it's like I think we all as a collective are dealing with stuff like this. And it's really funny, it's because when I speak to people right now, like everybody's dealing with this form of this inner demon within themselves for some reason right now. Like, and those who were spiritually awakened are dealing with like a spiritual experience, right? It's like a switch has been cut off in everybody, and no one feels spiritual anymore. But everybody feels anger, and everybody keeps procrastinating, like, oh, I'll just deal with it later, I'll just focus on trying to become reawakened at a different time, and they're just forgetting who they truly are, right? And I think that it's like some sick program that, yeah, it's like we're all brainwashed to believe like, oh, we can put off our spiritual self, oh, we can put off all of this. No, we need to step into this and figure out why we keep doing it, let that energy go, and become the better version of ourselves that we know we can. That 2.0 self. I shared my grief after my mom passed in 2013. I found others suffered loss too. Am I sharing and choosing not to hold it in? Yeah, see, Matthew, so you understand what I'm trying to say, yeah? Like when my mom passed, she passed in September of this year, and it's been roughish. It's been rough, you know. I'm not gonna lie and say it hasn't been, but then I've kind of dealt with a few more losses after that, relationship wise. So um, it's been a rough ride, you know. But here I am trying to force myself out of that instead of sitting in woe is me and the pity that we all like to sit in, for ourselves. I'm trying to push past it and still cling on to hope, right? Because if even though we're all getting our spiritual switches cut off for some reason, I refuse to let that flame in me die off, right? Because I'm like, that's the only hope I have at the moment. And to me, if I remove my hope, what do I have to live for, right? And I don't want to deal with that. So I'm trying to remain hopeful, and I'm trying to remain optimistic for a future and everything as much as I can in my misery, you know. Yeah, mine passed September 2nd, so the day after, but mine was this year, 2022. Sorry about your loss, though, man. It's definitely a rough experience. You definitely feel a part of you kind of goes away when your parents pass. But this is what I'm seeing. Maybe you need to, get some selenite, practice saging yourself, try just, do some shadow work. Let that emotions just all come. It doesn't have to be strictly in front of anybody that hears you, right? Just let it go. Like cry, scream, just feel those emotions. Allow your mind and your body to process it. That's always the important part of healing. Bottom of the deck is revenge. When some people suffer loss, this is what they feel. They feel, like they could get revenge on something spiritual or something or life in general for taking that person from them, right? But you can't. Unfortunately, it's not beneficial for you to feel that way. It's just life, unfortunately, And everybody chooses, in my opinion, I feel like we all choose when we come to, show up and pass away. Your dad passed, and then 1.5 years later, your girl passed. Really bummed out. Welcome in, the Tarot Crafty. It's all a process, never goes away. Yeah, and reaching out to a community or people who support is what came out kind of in the Star Dragons reading when it says you got to be resourceful. And I think it was telling you got to be resourceful in that form of healing, like how you're going to go about processing and dealing with that grief, right? Like you need to make sure you do it in a way that's helpful for you. We all have experienced some form of loss, and it can cause so many different things. It's like, especially like if you lose a loved one or you go through like a divorce or you have like a breakup or something about it, it's just it's a loss. Granted, some are stronger than others, but that those emotions are still there. They're raw. They don't go away if you don't deal with it. Yeah, you're very right, the Tarot Crafty. It's extremely difficult for people who haven't been in that kind of loss or grief before. And so when my grandmother passed before my mom did, I didn't know how to communicate that. My mom lost her mom and her dad, like pretty much back to back, in the same year. And you know, it's really difficult to try to console someone who loses something like that. And then losing my mother, it was probably, and still is probably, one of the worst things, because I lost her in September, and then I had my first birthday this year in December without her, and then the holidays, and then New Year's, and here we are today. Brand new year, so it's not exactly been an easy change. Like, there's sometimes I still like, since it's only been a few months, I still feel like she's alive, and then I remember, like, she's not, unfortunately. And I used to hear her voice in my head a lot, but I don't hear it anymore for some reason. So she's 42. Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, when you love someone and you lose them, it's, I'm sure it's a feeling that you can't get rid of and shake so easy. Of course you're going to be upset about that. It's like being widowed. Sorry, I have to get a water break. Yeah. I'm sorry you're going through that, Evan. Yeah, Matthew, that's some of the things, it's like, I remember my mom, she used to tell me, she's like, losing your mother is different. It's just like a different type of pain. And I always kind of thought she was crazy, but it's truly, it's truly painful. I'm trying to figure what kind of. I don't know what kind of color light I want for this next stream. No. Yeah, we'll just go purple. Why not? Yeah, no, I kind of view it as, when someone passes, they're still obviously here. They're just, like, from a lot of people who suffered, near-death experiences and different things. They exist in a plane kind of interdimensionally with ours, right? They go back to being their spiritual full self, still with the memories and everything that they had of this life. And, they'll be there. They're here with us, they surround us, you know, and that's just the really cool thing about it. That's really awesome, Evan. Yeah, I try to make my live streams and everything I do kind of a forum where people can just be open and honest, you know, because that's where healing comes in, you know. So I normally don't do this because I'm not like a medium or anything, but I'm gonna do 3 piles. Let you guys pick a pile of advice from a past loved one and see what it says for you. And like I said, you know, it's take what resonates, take what doesn't. You know, I'm just a man reading some cards here. All right. Messages from a past loved one. So pick pile 1, 2, or 3. And let me know in chat which one you pick. Just kind of pick whichever one resonates with you. So we have 3, 2, 2. Welcome in Piper McPickles. It's a really cool name. Yeah, Matt. I mean, you can actually pick more than one. It's just whatever resonates with you the most. Here, hold on. Let me go past that. So this is Amethyst, Selenite, and Peach Moonstone. Three and 2. I'm probably gonna go with number 1 for myself. Let's give it a second. If there's anybody else that wants to chime in, if you don't feel like stating what pile you want to pick in chat, it's cool. Just keep it in mind, and hopefully when we dive in, these will resonate with you. So, pile 1, which I think I'm the only one that picked. It's the raw amethyst. Because I'm using a purple light, it's going to be very difficult to figure this one out. Seahorse. Strength, guidance, transformation, feminine energy, which is really interesting because the past loved one I'm trying to connect with would be my mother. So. Feminine, which is really interesting considering that one means feminine energy too. It's kind of ironic. Nature and oneness, power, courage, and strength, which is really funny because this means strength, guidance, transformation, and feminine energy. So we have 2 cards representing the same thing that this is saying, which sounds like what my mom would tell me, you know, just be strong and keep going, and realizing that we're interconnected and everything here is interconnected, and that we're all part of each other's journey, right? We're all part of everything. I feel like in that guidance aspect, maybe that's her telling me that she's guiding me, which would be really awesome, you know? So that's a really cool reading. Yeah, she was. She was always happy. She had a good personality. Alright, pile 2. Creation, healing, and purification. The wolf card. Should I give you guys a minute to read this if you can? Alright. These same 2 cards came out in the last time I did a reading for about advice from your ancestors for 2023. These 2 cards seriously came out. I feel like they're telling you, I know that you're depressed, right? I know you feel isolated. I know that you need help. But you have to let go. You have to surrender. Surrender to that energy that's trying to connect to you, that divine freedom, right? That divine love. You look at that fairy, she goes, to me, I feel like if you wanted to view it as something similar, it's like she's super depressed, and then all of a sudden, when she lets go, she brightens up, changes, transforms, right? Maybe too, the number 12 is significant to you. I feel like it is significant to some extent. Look it up maybe in numerology. You just need to let go, and because when you let go of this depression and this isolation, and right, and you seek help, you go after the help that you need, right? Then I think I'm getting too close to the camera here. Then you have freedom. You need to allow yourself to be free, and so we get surrender and let go and freedom and depression. But here we also have creation, healing, and purification. Like, I feel like once you let go and you surrender to these emotions and you allow yourself to connect to the divine or connect to whatever energies that are around you that are good for you, then you're going to be embodying this energy, right? You're going to, you know, be creative, you're going to heal, you're going to be purified. So what I'm getting for you, pal, too, is that your loved one that's on the other side is telling you, like, they know how you feel. They know what you're feeling. They know what you're going through. They know the depression that you are just dealing with, and they're telling you, like, look, it's gonna be okay, and I need to, I need you to focus on trying to heal yourself and become better, right? Because if you're in this state of negativity or this state of depression, you're not going to be vibrating at your highest frequency, right? To where they can communicate to you as easy. Because you got to think they're operating on a divine frequency, like a frequency that's like high, very high frequency, right? And you got to meet them there. Excuse me. It's pile 3, Peach Moonstone. We have the Bull, once again. The Bull came out in one of our last readings. Renewal, fertility, and growth. Now, fertility could very well not mean, like you're gonna get pregnant or something. I gotta level that out, because I know a lot of people are just like, oh no, that's right. No, it could mean like, when you plant a seed, it's fertile, and then you can reap from it, right? So I think this is what it's telling you. Let me put that there. All right. Interesting. All right, so we have the third one. Let me fix this card. That's gonna bother me. There we go. Transformation, knowledge, and magic. Otherworld, shape-shifting, fertility. Once again, we have fertility again. I feel like pile 3, like, you know how to communicate with this loved one, right? It's there. It's there for you. Like, it's like really like right on the brink. Like, you know how to communicate with this loved one. You've got the knowledge. Maybe it's just intuitive. Maybe it's not even like a book that you need to like tap into, right? Like, I feel like maybe it's just you already know the answer to this. And you have that ability. But I see transformation as a key thing. Like, maybe you have to step into that energy first. Because you see this hair, it's like, it's underground in the dark, but above, it's like, maybe you need to learn how to shapeshift, go in between the light and the dark. Be willing to walk darker paths sometimes to do the shadow work that you need to do to go into that form of transformation, right? But it's like, this is the other world. Like, maybe you have an ability to see into the spirit world. A rabbit, or a hare, sorry, it'll go into a tunnel that goes deep into the earth. It's not afraid to do that. And I see the fertile is like, maybe it's just like, this is something that once you start planting the seeds of that, right? Like, once you start trying to communicate and trying to communicate and trying to communicate, and then eventually you'll reap the rewards of trying to do that. That's what I'm seeing for this. I feel like you're like, and then you got the renewal and growth. It's like, I feel like this is an area that you're going to grow in, and I feel like your past loved one is telling you, like, the more that you try to communicate to them, the stronger it'll become for you. Like the easier it'll be. And then over time, it'll just happen kind of like that, right? Like you'll just close your eyes and boom, there they are. These are some interesting readings. And I love that the spirit animal card always they kind of went perfectly with each pile, which is kind of cool. If you all have any questions, I'm leaving it right here for a second, so that way if you want to know more or. Yeah, you should be able to go back. It'll be on the homepage as one of the featured videos. You're talking about the ones right here, Piper? Is that right? So this one is these smaller cards are animal spirits. And then the other ones, the Oracle, are the Celtic Spirit Oracle. But I have like a bunch of others like as well over here on the sides too. I've been contemplating doing like card readings and stuff on different things, like maybe uploading a video once a month or something for like monthly card readings or what have you, but I try to save that usually for live streams. Yeah, I got both of those on Amazon. They were actually pretty decent priced. It wasn't a bad pricing at all. So, cards to use. Here, let me put these up really quick and I'll show you all the decks that I have. I also have runes too, so I just don't feel like walking across the other side of the room to pick them up. Yeah, the Black Tarot. by Victoria Iva. This is probably by far the only tarot deck that I have ever connected to. I usually kind of couldn't vibe with tarot at all. I had a Rider-Waite deck that I just didn't connect to either, and I got that. I saw that one at my metaphysical shop actually, and connected to it really hard. And it's been a wrap ever since for that one. So this is the Celtic Spirit Oracle. This does have like runes and stuff in it, like Elder Futhark to be exact, and some of the artwork, which is really weird, but it's just the way it is. But this one is a good price on Amazon. I just got this one actually a few days ago, and I connected to it pretty hard as soon as I got it. But I only like using this one as well combined with this one, because I feel like due to the Celts, you know, they also believed in, you know, animal guides and stuff as well. To me, it just kind of speaks heavy when they're combined together. Then I have the Star Dragon Oracle. You can get this on Amazon as well. It also has constellations and stuff in the cards too. And then you have my Dark Mirror set, which is like a shadow work deck. I try to avoid using these sometimes because these cards are a bit brutal and some people don't like them. Then I have the Oracle of Souls. And then I have the Black Tarot. Keepers of the Light. And then last but not least, one of my other favorites, the Moonology Oracle by Yasmin Bolin. Really funny with these LEDs, that moon looks like it's like actually glowing. It's kind of funny. But yeah, this branding company right here actually has a pretty good amount of sets, so they're not that bad. So I hope those readings resonated with everybody. It was really fun doing them all. I could sit here and do readings for hours and hours and hours. Sometimes, and other times it like drains me within like 5 minutes of doing a reading. I have a lot of fun doing them. I have a new Oracle deck actually. It's a Beowulf Oracle deck that I just got. However, I haven't delved too much into it. So I'm still trying to get adjusted to how I feel about them and how I connect with it. I also have a Celestial Manifestation deck as well. It's got like the Buddhas and stuff on it, which is really cool. Give me 1 minute. Let me get some water. Yeah, Evan, I probably will. It will more than likely go on. So I created a sister channel to this. It was called Into the Ether, which I'll probably more than likely put all the electronic stuff on. Yeah, I mean it's there now, but there's not any content actually on it. Really. Some of my like super old content. There. I should find the link to it. So that's the channel. It's got like a lot of really old content on it from when I first started working around meditation stuff. But yeah. That's awesome. I'm glad that you were drawn to the Egyptian stuff. Ironically, that's the stuff that no one really, I guess, resonated with the most on this channel, but I still do it anyway. Thoth is probably one of my favorites that I've done while owning the channel or maintaining it. I also have Egyptian Book of the Dead. Well, I don't know. The one by I don't have a lot of space over here, but let's see if I can move some stuff around. It's probably my favorite. And then I have a book on elves, wights, and trolls by Gundarson. Thank you, Evan. I actually get that a lot, that I look like kind of, I guess, the mythological aspect of Thor and Thor from God of War. It's a common thing. It's the red beard. I'm convinced. Also, I'm not a doctor by any means, but totally recommend you guys trying this. It's some really good stuff for mental clarity and for different things as well. Yeah, Matt, you're probably right. It could be associated to where you're born. Yeah, I have no idea. So my beard, solid red, but my hair is completely a different color. Like this is all copper colored. Nothing else on my body. Like my eyebrows are brown. You know, the top of my head is brown and well and gray now, but my beard is just copper. Lion's mane is really good for you. I got like 2 bottles of it from a place, so it's so far it's awesome. Well, too, it's really weird. It's like my beard is red, but my son's hair is the same color as my beard, but everything else on him isn't red either. Like his eyebrows are like they're not red; they're like brown, which is kind of odd. You're full redheaded. Really cool. There's nothing wrong with having red hair, you know. Me, I just turned December 20th. I turned 32. So So I've only been 32 for this would be 3 weeks. Actually, no. Tuesday of this week will be 3 weeks. So yeah, almost a month. Let me back this up a bit. That's really funny, Evan, actually, because I was supposed to be born in November, but they said that I didn't weigh enough, I guess, and so my mom had to carry me for another month. And then we always laughed, me and my mom did, because the day I was born, it was storming like hell. Like it was like a massive thunderstorm, and I was born. But what's so funny is like if you look at my birth chart, the time and the day I was born, like I was born at like 2:24 in the morning, on December 20th, and I'm a Sagittarius Capricorn cusp because being born on the 20th, but 90% of my natal chart is all Capricorn. So it's like it's a confusing mess. Oh yeah, and then I was like born on a thunderstorm, and I got the red beard, right? It's hilarious. My dad doesn't have red facial hair. My mom doesn't have red facial hair. It's weird. My mom doesn't have red facial hair. My mom doesn't have red hair. You know what I mean? I can't talk sometimes. Blame it on that. And thank you for the birthday wishes and everything. So my birthday is the day before Yule, which is cool. So December 7th. I think that's Pearl Harbor Day, right? I'd be a bad American if I didn't remember, but I want to say it's December 2nd, 7th, or the 3rd, or see, now I gotta look. I think it's December 7th. December 7th, 1941. Boom. I know my stuff. Alright, I'm good. Well, happy belated birthday to you as well. I know, right? There's a lot of Sagittarius energy in here. All that fire energy. Yeah, it's like a bunch of people I know of that are born on 9/11. You know, it's like they kind of are ashamed to admit when their birthday is for some reason. But I'm like, it's just unfortunately, 9/11 happened, but it doesn't change the day that you were born. A fire snake? I don't think I've ever heard of that. I don't know much about like certain astrology stuff, right? Um, I know like based on my natal chart, I'm like it's no doubt that I'm majority of Capricorn, right? But it's like even though I'm a Sagittarius, you get that right. But it's like if you looked at my three, like I'm a Sagittarius, Aquarius, and Scorpio rising. So it's like dun dun dun. But I don't vibe with any of those. I've had my astrology chart looked at by people who practice Hinduism, like the Vedic astrology, and they told me like what planets are my enemies, right? Like planets that were classified as evil in my birth chart that I needed to do certain rituals to overcome. But other than that, beats me. I'm very new to a lot of this, some of the astrological stuff. Most of my study of space and astrology is usually half, if I'm being honest, has to do with ETs. So, like for an example, I practice something called CE5, which is where you go into deep meditation and you can project yourself astrally into the cosmos to communicate to extraterrestrials or to invite them to communicate to you, and they'll show up as like a UFO or whatever. In my area where I live, like the town that I'm in, sits on a ley line for my state. So there's a ton of UFOs here, like nightly. Like every night there's UFOs, like 20, 30, 40 of them that even the town knows about. Like it's just crazy activity here. Like if I go outside right now, since it's darkening, if the cloud is, the clouds are gone, I'll at least see 15, 20 UFOs before 7 o'clock. And it's 5:46 my time. It's just kind of how it is. But I know on January 7th, Dr. Stephen Greer, the guy who holds a bunch of like he has an app about this, but he made a few documentaries too. He's the one that like leads this whole CE5 thing, but supposedly there's gonna be like a worldwide meditation to try to have everybody at one collective effort to communicate to extraterrestrials, which is gonna be cool. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna turn out. So, looking into what Matthew's talking about, if that's the case, I am a metal horse in Chinese mythology or Chinese horoscope. That's really interesting. That is a very interesting way of doing it. It's just combining them all. You're very welcome, Evan. Thank you for hanging out. I'm actually about to go sign off myself. Stretch. Maybe step outside, get some fresh air. I've been inside for the most part of the day. I'd like to soak up a bit of the cosmos and clear my head, maybe sage myself a bit just to get the new year going the right way. But I appreciate all of you for hanging out. Much love to all of you. This video will be up on the front part of the YouTube channel, so you should be able to see it. And unfortunately, I don't think it's time stamped, so just kind of skim through it until you find what you're looking for. But yeah, I appreciate it. You're all awesome, and thanks for all your support. Have a good new year. And I look forward to hanging out with you all. Probably next weekend I might do another stream, maybe. So have a good new year. Go meditate, stretch, get some water, do a cleansing bath or shower, whatever works for you. Or in my case, I just go outside with some Palo Santo and some sage and yeah, go to town on trying to cleanse my aura and energy and everything. So I appreciate all of you. And here, I'll leave y'all with you guys with a meditation track for the day. Oh, there we go. You guys enjoy that one. That's the one I'm currently playing right now. And yeah, it's a good deep. That's one of my earlier songs, so I hope you enjoy it. But much love, peace, and light, and support coming your way. I remember to connect to the divine within yourself, meditate, and yeah, just try to stay positive, right? You know what you need to do. All the cards said the same things. It was an honor to read for all of you. So, till next time.